Today we're going to focus a lot on calming our mind and calming our body. And one thing I want to have you think about at the beginning of class is we've always thought that we have to calm our mind and then our body will calm, but the opposite is true. We work on calming the body and the mind will calm. And so during our practice today, we'll be doing so much stretching and it'll be slow and it'll be so good for you that deal with stress and anxiety. And so we'll work a lot on that, working a lot with the breathing today. And so at the beginning, I just want to share this with you. Difficult, painful, or challenging experiences often take us out of mindfulness, and we all experience anxiety, frustration, sadness, and anger. In these moments, you have an opportunity to respond however you choose. So that's pretty powerful that we get to choose our response. By tending to your painful emotions with mindfulness, you learn new ways to work with them instead of pushing them away or fighting them. Over time, you'll grow less reactive and better able to meet the hard times with care and awareness. And our meditation at the end today will work a lot with that. And I'll give you some wonderful meditation ideas to be able to help calm our monkey minds. Let's start today just in a comfortable seated cross-legged position. Rest your wrists on your knees. And we'll be mindful of our posture, but not tense in our posture. So extend our spine. Soften the jaw. Soften the eyes in the socket. And begin to use the breath to calm and to center and to push out ruminations or overthinking. And sometimes it's helpful to imagine your inhale coming from the base of the spine all the way up the spine, out the crown of the head, and the exhale coming from the crown of the head, pushing to the base of the spine, bringing that relaxation. So we're bringing earth energy in as we inhale. And on the exhale, we're pushing calm, relaxing, softening, soothing energy throughout our body. We'll try and be mindful of that today during our practice as it's just stretching and relaxing tension in our body. So continuing at your own pace, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. The eyes are closed. Imagine that calming energy flooding your system. Really allowing yourself to be supported by the earth. And when thoughts come to mind, just note them and let them go. Don't hang on them, ruminate, obsess. Let them go. Don't attach feeling to them. Just notice them and release them. Okay, on our next breath, we're going to bring the breath into the belly. So place your right hand center on the belly. Feel the expansion of the belly as you inhale and see if you can really push the belly out wide, feeling it. And then exhaling as you contract those muscles, squeezing the navel into the spine, completely emptying the lungs. With softness, just feel the rise and the fall of the belly. We're really trying to get to the deep area of the lungs. And maybe you've noticed, or maybe you will notice, that during the day, most people use about the top 1/3 of your lung capacity in your regular normal breathing. We really want to get deeper into that breath. Use the entire capacity of the lungs. Take one more deep inhale in the belly. And exhale, pushing it out, completely emptying. And then we'll bring our left hand to the center of our chest. And let's start feeling the breath in our chest. Feeling those ribs expand and separate from each other. And contract. Inhaling, feeling the chest. Exhaling, contracting the chest. And again, our posture is mindful, but not tight. The muscles in our face are soft. Our eyes are closed, resting in their socket. Really feel the lungs, feel the chest cavity, and squeeze it, emptying it. Imagine each of your ribs separating from one another as you expand and returning and contracting. We'll take a couple more breaths here in the chest. Now let's bring the breath to the throat, the roof of the mouth, the throat. And you'll feel a difference in your head as you bring that breath higher. So inhaling through the nose, feeling the cool air as you're inhaling through your sinus passages, and warming as you're exhaling, bringing more oxygen into the brain. You might hear your sigh, your breath, kind of like a Darth Vader breath as you're inhaling and exhaling high into the throat, the nasal passages. Remembering to keep mindful posture here. We'll take a couple more big breaths in the throat, the sinuses. And then we'll add all three breaths together. Okay, on the next inhale, bring that inhale from the belly to the chest, to the throat. And exhale from the throat to the chest, to the belly. Inhale, belly, chest, throat. Exhale, throat, chest, belly. And with each breath, trying to extend it, make it more full, more complete, with the aim of having our exhale be twice as long as the inhale. And I like to try and eliminate the pause between the inhale and the exhale, and the pause between the exhale and the inhale, just to make it one fluid movement. No beginning, no end. And let's take 2 more full breaths. And return our hands to our knees. Taking a moment to consider an intention for today, an intention for your week. How do you want to show up on the mat today? How do you want to show up in your life this week? Okay, let's extend tall through the spine, really trying to lift our crown of our head up to the ceiling as high as we can get it. And then take a moment just to dip your chin into your chest. Feeling that stretch, pulling in the back of your neck, the top of your shoulders. And try and press your shoulders down so that you can create space between your ears and your shoulders. And lift the chin on an inhale, really breathing deeply. Opening up the throat, the neck, squeezing between the shoulder blades and pushing the chest out. And then return chin to chest on the exhale. And try and press the chin in a little bit tighter, bringing that stretch farther down into the back. Again, pulling your shoulders away from your ears, dipping the chin in. And return the face to neutral. Let's gaze over our left shoulder. We really want to find the farthest extension of these stretches that we can find right to the edge of our work, short of pain, but you may feel discomfort. And again, you can work on pulling your right ear away from your right shoulder to open up farther into the right side of your neck. And release it, gazing over our right shoulder. Really pushing the chin behind our right shoulder, pulling that left shoulder down, the right or the left ear away from that shoulder. Inhale and gaze left again. Maybe finding yourself a little bit farther into the stretch. Inhale, gaze right. Okay, face back to neutral, and let's pull that chin back into the chest. Really stretching farther into the back, into the neck. And this time we'll lift our chin on an inhale, as high as we can get it, pulling our shoulders down, pressing our chest forward, taking the bottom lip and trying to reach it up over the top lip to really stretch out the front of our throat. And release it. Let's take our chin to the right clavicle. And then just feel where you're at with this to try and get the most benefit. You want to keep your posture tall. Press that chin in closer to the clavicle, separating space between the left ear and left shoulder. Really digging deep. Try dipping it a little bit further and pushing it to the back and release it. And let's take our chin to the left clavicle. Really putting some movement into our neck, keeping it flexible, strong, healthy. Again, pulling space between your right ear, right shoulder, pressing the chin to your clavicle, trying to push a little bit farther. And then let's return chin to chest. Chin to ceiling on the inhale. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, chin to ceiling. And then return face neutral. Grabbing our right elbow with our left hand, we're going to try and bring that right elbow across our body, stretching into the tricep, the shoulder, and the shoulder blade. Remembering to keep your posture tall, your core engaged by pressing the navel to the spine, and really create some resistance here with your hand. You can even try pushing that shoulder forward a little bit more. Exhale to release. Same thing, opposite side, grabbing the left elbow with the right hand, extending the spine tall, tucking the navel in, keeping our posture mindful. Remembering that breath, bringing relaxation and calm to the body. And release. Our right elbow goes up over our head, so our right hand is to the back of our neck. And I'll turn around here so you can see this at a different angle. Bringing our right palm to the top of our neck And we can reach up with our left hand to just gently nudge that hand a little bit farther down the spine, opening into that shoulder blade. And then we'll take our left hand and bring it from behind, pushing up, getting our fingertips as close together as they can. Yours may look different. Let's check into our posture. Our spine's extended, navel tucked in. Our face is relaxed. And then let's release it. Same thing, opposite side. And you might want to move your shoulders around a little bit. Left elbow comes up, left palm to the back of the neck. You can use your fingers to creep yourself down a little bit farther. And then bring your right hand up, create some resistance to put that left elbow towards the head a little bit more, opening into that shoulder blade, reaching from underneath with the right, trying to get those fingertips to touch. And this may be a lot of work for some of you. We really don't get deep into these shoulder joints very often, but you'll notice that when you're wanting to put lotion on your back or sunscreen or scratch an area of your back, keeping that posture tall. Okay, let's release it. Okay, shake out those shoulders, rotate them, palms to the walls on both sides, trying to create, trying to push those walls away from each other. And then we're going to reverse it and squeeze our shoulder blades together as if there's a pencil between our shoulder blades, really trying to strengthen into those muscles to create support, to assist with our posture, keeping our chest up and open. Release it, press the walls apart, and press the shoulder blades together. Just imagine that pencil. See if you can squeeze it so tight that you snap it in two. And then bring the fingers in front of you, lace them together, and press the wall in front of you. And you can also dip your chin into this one. Extend your spine tall. We're going to release the tension we just created between our shoulder blades here. Okay, fingertips to shoulders, rotating into the shoulder joints. We're going to try and get those elbows touching in front of us and shoulder blades squeezing behind us. Try and get those elbows close together. We're just flowing in a counterclockwise or clockwise. We'll do both directions. Again, warming up those shoulder blades, bringing more flexibility into them. Okay, let's reverse it into the opposite direction. Okay, with your legs out in front of you, fingertips to the wall behind you, extending your spine. We'll open up into the chest. So try and get those hands closer together so that you're really pulling into the chest. You're squeezing those shoulder blades again, and we'll lift our hips to open up the chest. So lifting the hips, opening up the chest, trying to get those elbows together, really pushing the chest up and open, lifting the chin, squeezing the glutes, tucking the navel, and we can release it. And then we'll come to a forward fold to reverse it, hinging from the hip, flat spine, flexed heels, knees pulled into the thigh. And you'll notice we're not coming into this forward fold very far because we're starting to stretch into those legs. Using the breath, bringing yourself a little bit farther, and reverse it. Let's take our fingertips to the wall behind us, lifting our chest, opening the throat chakra, lifting the chin, and then releasing it. And we'll come into a forward fold again, flexing the heels, bending from the hip with a flat spine, reaching over the toes, and you'll find yourself coming a little bit farther into this forward fold. And we'll hold this forward fold for 3 minutes. So if you need to come out of the forward fold during that time, come out and then come back in. And I'll find my timer. So we're back into our forward fold, flat spine. And our goal is to lay our chest over our knees, reaching our elbows to the mat. And that will help us keep a flat spine hinging from the hips. Once you feel supported with your hands to the mat, your elbows to the mat, your hands closer to your toes, then you can start softening the spine and allowing yourself to melt into the pose. Again, keeping those heels flexed, legs as straight as you can get them, pressing the knees into the mat, laying your chest flat over your knees, breathing deeply and seeing if each exhale will allow you to come a little bit farther into the pose. Well, we haven't warmed up these muscles, they're still really tight. And it'll take some good mental work to send those messages to your joints, your ligaments, your muscles to release, to loosen, and letting them know it's safe to do so. It's a protective mode to not be so flexible. And it's a lot of mind work to allow your body to release in this pose. Again, with each exhale, find yourself a little bit farther into the fold. You may notice a lot of heat building in your core. Holding a position like this for a long time will build internal heat. Keeping those legs straight, heels flexed, knees pulled into the thigh, and trying to find that softness. And if you're interested, you can dip the chin closer to the chest. Okay, let's slowly release out of the pose. Extend the spine, tuck the navel close to the spine, flex the heels, pull the knees into the thighs, and we'll stay here in staff pose. Just hold some strength here. So let's check into our body to make sure we're where we need to be. The crown of our head is reaching towards the ceiling. The muscles in our face are soft. Our eyes are closed. Our jaw is relaxed. Our chest is open. Slight tension between our shoulder blades. Spine is tall and extended. Navel is tucked into the spine. Pelvic floor is lifted like an elevator to the top floor. Our hands are barely resting here. The weight of our body is not on our hands. Our sitting bones are parallel to the mat, balanced equally. Our legs are straight. Knees are pulled into the thigh. Heels are flexed. And most importantly, we're checking into the breath. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling down the spine. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling down the spine. One more breath here. And release. Okay, let's take our legs apart and find the space that works for you, where you're feeling work. You're feeling some stretching into your hips. And we'll work on some wide leg stretching. So what I want to do is to check into what our body is doing so our legs are as straight as we can get them. You may notice a slight bend in yours. Your legs may be closer together. Our spine is tall and extended. And let's just sit here for a moment, extending the spine, pulling the pelvic floor up, navel tucked in, chest is open, face is soft, and take our left elbow to the inside of the left knee so our chest stays forward, left elbow to the inside, and our right arm reaches up and over. And again, we don't want to be hunching forward. We want to keep our torso in that straight line, and we're bringing it over the left leg. Left leg is straight, and we're trying to get that left elbow to the mat and really reach over. See if you can find the pull in the outside of the right hip, separation between each rib on the right rib cage, the right abdominal wall, stretching in your right tricep, and stretching from your right wrist through your elbow. And we're breathing softly. Our face is soft. And then we'll return to center. Again, finding that neutral spine here, squaring up the sitting bones, lengthening the spine. Inhaling, and on the exhale, we're taking our right elbow to the inside of our right knee, keeping the spine tall and straight, and taking our left arm over, reaching toward our left toes. And again, we're finding that stretch deep into the left hip joint. Left rib cage is separating. Trying to get that right elbow in front of the right knee. Our legs are straight. Heels are flexed. Navel tucked to the spine. Really reaching out, trying to get the left hand to the right toes. Softness in the face, eyes are closed. And then we'll return to a sitting position, squaring up those sitting bones again. This time we'll take our chest flat and rotate from the hips, trying to line up the center of our chest over the left knee, reaching up and dropping the center of the chest right over that left knee. So again, you're going to naturally want to open up to the side, but we really want to get both of those shoulders parallel to the floor and then twist so that the center of our spine is over the left knee. And with each exhale, lower yourself a little bit farther into the pose. Breathing softly, eyes closed. Okay, let's return to sitting. growing the spine nice and tall, rotating toward the right knee, and then we'll reach toward our right foot. Aiming to get our chest centered over the right knee and our shoulders parallel to the floor. Really feeling the stretch in the back of the left hip and the back of the right thigh. The back, in fact, in the back of the entire right leg. Really trying to keep those legs straight, shoulders parallel. One more breath here, and we'll return to sitting. Squaring up those sitting bones, and then we'll come forward, hinging from the hip with a flat spine, so we hinge down, not bend down. So extend the spine tall, keeping the legs straight, flexing from the hip, the flat spine, coming forward. And you may have a different form of this pose that works better for your body, so find your edge. If you're able to, you can bring those elbows down to the floor, keeping the legs straight. And again, if you're interested in going a little bit farther, flattening the chest right to the floor. We'll hold this for a good minute, really trying to find softness here. This will be a lot of mental work. You'll notice your hips starting to tighten, your legs starting to tighten, possibly shaking. Breathe through it. Inhale, energy. Exhale, relaxation to the ends of your fingertips and toes. And find yourself coming a little bit deeper with each exhale into the pose. Eyes are closed. We're breathing softly, trying to find relaxation in the middle of the tension. Okay, let's take 2 more deep breaths here. And then on the next inhale, lifting yourself out of the pose. Okay, let's reverse that stretch in our hips. We'll stack our knees on top of each other. The right knee comes straight in front of us. Left knee will stack right on top of that knee. So adjust yourself a little bit into the pose. You might not have both knees stacked, so find the form that works for you. And we really want to have both of our sitting bones right to the mat. So that's more important than being able to stack both of the knees on top of each other. We want to keep those sitting bones stacked. We'll just sit here for a moment, hands resting softly onto our feet. Our spine is tall. And let's do some mental work here to send the message to the hips to soften, release, relax, find ease. We'll inhale, and on the exhale, hinging from the hip, we'll come forward. Laying our chest flat on top of our knees. Really stretching the outsides of our hips. You'll notice this left hip or the left sitting bone wanting to come up. Work to get both of your sitting bones level to the floor. And work to exhale relaxation into the body. The breath work in yoga is far more important than flexibility or strength or stamina. The breath is what ties it all together and allows you to increase your flexibility, your strength, or your stamina. Take one more deep breath and release out of the pose on the next inhale. Always inhaling as we open up a pose or become larger into a pose. Exhale as we're closing into a pose. Okay, let's take that left knee, raise it up a little bit farther, and we'll do a spinal twist. Again, extending the spine. And we'll take our right elbow to the outside of our right knee, and we'll twist to the left. Be mindful of your low spine. If you're feeling pain at all, release a little bit into it. Don't go into it as far, or else I think I've taught all of you this, keeping your chin and your chest aligned. So fingertips to the chin, thumb to the chest, and you can twist that way, which will keep the twist in the mid to upper spine and really protect your low spine. Okay, we'll take another deep breath here. And inhale to release and open up out of the pose. Okay, same thing. This time our left knee comes down directly in front of us. Finding those sitting bones to the mat. Our right leg stacks on top of our left leg. Let's really work on getting those sitting bones down. And we'll sit here for a moment in this pose, mentally sending the message to these hip flexors. In fact, if you put your hands on your hip flexors, you'll be able to feel a really good muscle right in there. And those muscles get so tight. And this is a good way to find those muscles and to really, like with your thumbs, you can press into them to massage if you ever find yourself getting tightness. Maybe if you run or if you walk or hike long distances, you'll feel some tightness coming into those hip flexors. So stacking the knees, putting both sitting bones down, finding that ease. We'll inhale, and on the exhale, fold forward with a flat spine, a straight spine, hinging from the hip, laying our chest right on top of our knees. And you'll notice tightness coming into your hip joints. So breathe into them, allow them to relax and release. Let's really focus on the breath here. Inhaling, exhaling to soften and relax and calm. Inhaling, exhaling to soften, relax, calm. See if you can get yourself as relaxed as if you're ready to fall asleep in this pose. The breath perfectly calm and still, steady, rhythmic. Okay, open our chest on the inhale to release out of the pose. We can lift this right knee up, and we'll work on a spinal twist, keeping the movement in the mid to upper spine by aligning the chin to the chest. Otherwise, you can bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. We always want to extend the spine tall before we go into a lateral movement with the spine. We call that grow before you go. So always grow your spine tall before you go into a twist or a lateral movement. Finding softness in your face. And you can gaze beyond that right shoulder. And inhale to release and open up into the pose. Okay, I'd like to do a camel pose and open up into the chest one more time. We've already done one, but This is really a good pose to undo some of that stress that we get every day looking at our devices and kind of closing in. So let's find knees hip distance apart. We're going to press our pelvis forward. Our glutes are squeezing tight, finding that neutral spine. So for me, I really need to tip forward because my backside comes forward a lot more. So I'm going to really tip forward, finding that neutral spine, extending the spine tall, opening the chest, lifting my palms, reaching around to my backside and sliding my palms into my back pockets. And just pressing into the back pocket, seeing if we can get our elbows close together. Opening the chest, lifting the chin, pressing into the glutes, tucking the navel in, squeezing the elbows close together. And let's release it and come to extended puppy. So we'll hike our booty into the air and reach our arms forward, forehead to the mat. Releasing some of that tension. And then we'll do our modified camel one more time. Spine is tall, hips are square, pelvis pushed forward, chest is open. Inhale to reach up, slide our palms down the back of our hands, pushing forward, squeezing the elbows together, opening the chest, lifting the chin, stretching the throat, trying to find complete balance here. Inhale, release. Coming into extended baby this time. So we're going to lower our hips into that space between our heels, reaching forward, pressing our forehead to the mat, allowing the earth to completely support our bodies. Taking a few breaths here. And releasing out of the pose, we're going to come into a squat. So our feet are about hip distance apart. Depending on your body size and shape, you might want your feet a little bit farther so that you can put your torso in between your knees. And just find yourself settling into this squat. You can use your arms to push yourself back just a little bit, push your legs back. And then let's grab opposite elbows with opposite hands. So right hand to left hand to right elbow, and allow our arms to hang into this space. Again, we're working on the breath today, just breathing that softness into this pose, seeing if we can release into those hips, thighs, and drop the chin to the chest. And let your head hang in between this space. Okay, I'd like to try a couple of crow poses today. So I'll be cueing different steps into crow, and you can stop at your edge. So to the point that you are getting the work, but I will cue all the way to full crow pose. So let's find our feet on the mat, squarely rooted. Our torso, our chest is in between our knees. We're going to place the back of our upper arm right to the shin, okay? Back of both upper arms right to the shin, which will have you come down a little bit farther into the pose. And let's place our palms to the mat. So let's find our balance here and see if we can find balance between our palms and our feet, and trying to really get those shins a little bit farther down onto the backs of our arms. And we'll come up, lifting from the heel, the ball of the foot, up to our tiptoe, and then we'll transfer weight to our palms. So in this pose, let's lift up our heels and balance our weight between our hands and the balls of our feet. Okay, we'll lift a little bit farther. See if you can get those legs a little bit farther down or your arms farther down on your legs. Lifting from the balls of our feet to our tiptoes. And now putting all of the weight on our palms, lifting our feet. You may just lift one leg to get a feel for it. And if you're able to, you can lift both legs. Finding that balance. And if you're able, you can lift the arms a little bit straighter. Okay, release. And let's shake it out. I've got a nice spider friend. I don't know if you can see that. Right on my mat, which is kind of grossing me out. So stay in your squat or lift and lower. I don't think the spider wants to do yoga with me. Let me try this crow pose one more time. Okay. Feet hip distance apart, maybe a little bit farther, finding that place, tucking our arms in so the backs of our arms are right against our shin. And we'll find balance here, and then we'll lift off of our heels onto the balls of our feet, to our toes, and then lifting off of the mat, balancing the weight onto our hands. And we can release. Okay, coming back, stretching into the squat pose, taking a few breaths, palms to the mat, and we'll lift and lower, putting some stretch back into those knees. Lifting and lower, lifting and lower. One more, lifting and lower. Okay, coming to table pose. Wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Movement coming from the chest to the upper spine, squeezing our chin close to our chest, lifting between the shoulders, exhaling into cat, reversing it, inhaling into cow, pressing the chest between the arms. Inhaling or exhaling to cat, because we're closing up, we're making ourselves smaller. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling cat. Inhaling cow. Okay, this time our forehead comes to the mat, and we'll reach to our heels, and we'll pull ourselves up. So you can pull a nice stretch into your arms here, into your shoulders, into your back. Just pull your hands, your arms away from your heels, tucking that forehead right to the mat, and release. And again, pulling your forehead to the mat, stretching, and releasing. Okay, let's bring our right knee or our left knee forward and our left foot to the front of our right hip and lower that right leg. Trying to get the thigh flat to the mat. We can stay here for a moment. In our pigeon, finding stretch again in the hips and the legs. And we'll inhale. And on the exhale, lower our chest over the knee. And you might need to adjust yourself a little bit, wanting to keep your hips parallel to the mat. You'll notice this right hip wanting to raise up. The stretch happens as you press that right hip closer to the mat. Our forehead can come to the end or to the mat and reach our arms out in front of us here. And softness in our breath. One more breath. And we'll lift up out of the pose. And release. And this time we'll take our right knee in front. So right knee, top of the mat in the center. Right foot in front of left hip. And we're straightening out this left leg, trying to square up both hips to the mat. And make our torso open and tall in this pigeon. And you can also focus on keeping your elbows pointing toward the wall behind you, tucked close to your body, and you'll feel some strengthening happening in the backs of your upper arm. Squaring up the hips, seeing if you can drop yourself a little bit farther into the pose. Inhale, and on the exhale, fold yourself forward. Keeping both hips low to the mat. For some reason, this side is so much tighter than my other side. Finding softness here. Using the breath to relax and calm. And release. Okay, let's rotate around to our backs. We'll lie on our backs for a few inversion poses. Taking just a moment to allow the earth to completely support us. You can find Shavasana. Take 3 or 4 breaths in Shavasana before we do an inversion. Pay attention to the energy in your body, to how you feel now as the practice is beginning to wind down. And let's come to a waterfall pose, getting our feet straight up from the hip, pressing the small of our back into our hip. Our palms are down to the sides of our hips. We have our heels flexed, our knees pulled into our thighs. Navel tucked into our spine. Eyes are closed. Face is soft. Finding softness even in our hands, our fingertips, our arms. Our arms are really just resting in this pose. The work is happening from the waist down. Okay, we'll create a saddle with our hands. So our elbows will come to the mat and we will lift our hips into that saddle and allow our hips to rest in the saddle. If it's not in your practice, stay in wheel pose. You might want to come out of wheel pose or waterfall pose and then come back into it if you're feeling tension. Otherwise, lift our hips into the saddle. You see our fingertips are together in this one. I think I may have shown it to you wrong. So fingertips are together, hips are resting in the saddle, trying to get these legs to come straight out from the hips. And we're letting the blood flow back down into our hearts and our brains, into our core and all of those organs. If you're able to, you might want to adjust your elbows to get them a little bit closer together. And find yourself back in this pose. In inversion pose, we always keep our chin to chest, never looking side to side. Okay, you're welcome to stay here in a shoulder stand, or you can keep the legs coming farther over the head, getting them closer to the floor, finding your edge, finding that stop. And if you're able to, you can continue to bring them to the floor. And then you can reach up with your hands and meet them over your head. And again, your legs may be bent in this pose. The aim is to get them straight. Feel the difference in the blood flow and how gravity is working on your body in this pose. And now let's bring our knee to our ears and wrap our arms around our legs from the inside, grabbing our feet, pulling our knees down towards our ears. Again, chin always stays to the chest in inversion poses. Okay, let's release it and straighten the legs again. Straighten the arms out over the head. And we can come into another variation of this pose. So find form of the pose that works for you and don't push. You can always use this video as a reference to come back and practice this on your own if you're not comfortable with it. Lifting your legs straight towards the ceiling will come into a free shoulder stand. This time we're not using our arms to support us. We're rolling up a little bit farther onto our shoulders, trying to get those legs straight up over the hips. And this may be the measure of the pose that works for you. Or you can reach down to your legs and add another dimension of balance. Completely balancing on the tops of your shoulders, back of your neck, lifting higher into the pose. Okay, sliding your hands down your legs. We'll take about a minute to come out of this pose, and we'll slowly roll down, touching each vertebrae to the mat until we're in a complete corpse pose, lying flat on the mat. Again, lowering each vertebrae very slowly, holding strength in your torso, in your legs, rolling the spine down, keeping the feet close to your arms, legs straight, lowering yourself slowly, rolling out of the pose. I like to see how long I can keep my feet close to my arms until my legs start lifting as I'm rolling down farther onto each vertebrae. Keeping them as low as we can get them. Remembering to breathe. We can keep our eyes closed in this pose, really focusing on what's happening inside our bodies. And then we'll be back to waterfall pose. So a real good strengthening pose, stretching pose, and mostly endurance, really finding inner strength to lower our legs slowly. And it's probably taking us longer than a minute here. We'll speed up this last little part a bit. If we had more time, we'd take it slowly, more slowly. Feel different areas of your core engage as your legs lower and drop. Acquiring more breath. Strengthening into that core. And once your feet are to the mat, allow yourself to completely relax in Shavasana. While you're in Shavasana, it's a great time to check back in to your intention for your practice today. Feel the flow of energy in your body now. And we'll move into our final meditation. You're welcome to stay in corpse pose for meditation, or you can come to a seated cross-leg position for meditation today. Take a moment to scratch any last itches, adjust anything that needs adjusting so that you can remain completely still during this meditation. And we'll try and do this in about 5 to 7 minutes. When the mind grows agitated, the body often follows suit. Luckily, the relationship between the mind and the body is a two-way street. As you calm the body, the mind will likewise relax. Softly close the eyes. Allow them to sink deeply into the socket, completely at rest. Become mindful of the breath in the nostrils, the coolness of the air on the inhale, the warmth on the exhale. And it might be helpful to further bring yourself into relaxation to take some real deep cleansing breaths here. Almost as if you release the breath with a sigh, letting tension in the body completely release. And we'll begin to bring our focus into the left arm. As you begin to breathe in, imagine the energy of the breath filling the left arm. As you breathe out, imagine pushing the energy in the arm throughout your fingers, clear to the fingertips and out. Inhaling, calming into the arm. Exhaling as you push that relaxation out, clear through the fingertips. And continue this pattern for the next several breaths. Inhaling to calm and release. Exhaling to push that calm and relaxation throughout the entire arm and out the fingertips. Notice that your arm becomes to feel heavy, completely relaxed. When the mind wanders during this practice, just gently bring it back, always using the breath. Now take your awareness and your focus to the right arm. Breathe in, filling the arm completely with the energy of the breath. Exhale and release the energy through the right fingertips. Inhaling the breath energy to the right arm and exhaling to push that energy from your shoulder through your elbow to your wrist and out the fingertips. Inhaling the energy, exhaling to push that relaxation through the entire right arm. When you notice your mind wander, always return to the breath. Visualizing both of your arms completely at rest. Now switch your awareness to your torso. Visualize filling the entire chest and abdomen with breath energy as you inhale. Inhale completely to fill the chest cavity and push the breath down through the bottom of the spine and tailbone as you exhale, pushing that energy throughout your entire torso. Inhale the energy of the breath. Exhale to push that calming, relaxing energy throughout the entire torso. Always returning to the breath as the mind begins to wander. Take note of the feeling in the torso and the arms, the relaxation that your body is feeling, the heaviness as you allow the earth to support you. Bring our focus to the left leg. Again, imagine inhaling energy of the breath into the left leg. Exhaling as you push that energy from the left hip through the thigh, the knee, the calf, the ankle, the foot, and out the toes. Inhale the breath energy to the entire leg. Exhale that energy through the hip, the thigh, the knee, the calf, the ankle, the foot, and the toes. Keeping the mind focused on the breath, paying attention to the feeling of the leg lying in complete relaxation. Taking one last breath in the left leg, breathing the energy in and exhaling to push that energy throughout the entire left leg. Bring your awareness to the right leg. Inhale energy to the right leg, the complete energy of the breath, and exhale to push that breath from the hip to the thigh, the knee, the calf, the ankle, the foot, and out the toes. Inhale to completely fill the right leg. And exhale to push the energy from the hip, through the leg, out the toes. And continue this pattern for the right leg. Taking the final moments to bring your awareness to your entire body, from your head to your toes, using the breath to inhale energy into your entire body, filling it completely, and using the exhale to push that calm, relaxing breath from the crown of the head to the torso, the arms, the legs, out the fingertips and toes. Inhaling completely throughout the body. Exhaling to push that relaxation through the crown of the head, the shoulders, the arms, the torso, the hips, the legs, the feet, the toes. Allowing the earth to completely support your relaxed body. And take a moment here to tune back into your intention. Notice how the body feels after a practice. Check back in with your intention for your day, how you want to show up, what you want to bring to the world today. And now begin to bring small movements back to your fingertips, your toes, your wrists, ankles, stretching the arms, the legs, twisting from side to side, bringing new energy into the body as you bring movement back into the body. And return to a seated cross-legged position. When you're ready, bring your hands to heart center. And I offer each of you gratitude for joining me in class today. And my wish for you today is calm and peace and love. Namaste. Thanks for joining. Have a great Sunday. Love you all. See you on Tuesday.